You know, guys, I keep saying I am genuinely losing my mind over here. I am genuinely losing my mind over here because I'm looking at all these stories of 7 warships being sent to Venezuela, 4,500 troops being sent to Venezuela, Trump issuing threat after threat. Now he attacked a boat off the coast of Venezuela. And I'm not seeing the media talk about it that much. It's very much on the low. You get a little trickle of stories here and there. But I'm also not seeing Democrats talk about it. In fact, what was it? I think it was Ken Klippenstein did like a keyword search for Chuck Schumer in Venezuela and Hakeem Jeffries in Venezuela, and neither one of them have mentioned it. Which, look, tells me, I don't know, are you low-key, casually in favor of Trump trying to do regime change in Venezuela? A country that didn't attack us, wasn't planning to attack us? Like, is this what we are now as a country? We're just like disgusting imperialist gangster thugs who the only reason he's going in there to topple it is because he wants a puppet regime for the U.S. and he wants to steal the oil. And we're all just okay with this. We all just sit back and watch it like it's normal. So let me walk you through some of the new updates. So here we go. Shockingly, one of the few outlets that did manage to talk about it was Fox News. But of course, they're not going to talk about it to say, hey, this is kind of bad. They're just going to say stuff like this.
Now, Brian, the U.S. Navy has amassed a small armada in the Caribbean. 3 guided missile destroyers, a cruiser, an attack submarine, and 3 amphibious ships, including the USS Iwo Jima, amphibious assault ship, of course, loaded with Iwo Jima up to 2,000 Marines. And many Democrats now say the drone strike on the drug boat was an illegal action.
I think they can get away with this. God knows what they are going to do next. So that's what we're looking to right now, and there is reason to believe that this was not illegal action.
Now, for decades, Brian, the rules of engagement in the Caribbean was to detain these drug smugglers, warning shots, shoot out the engine, and use Coast Guard law enforcement officers on board Navy ships to detain the crew and transfer them to a Coast Guard cutter. Those days are over. The orders are now shoot to kill, and expect those rules of engagement to be debated in the halls of Congress in the coming days, Brian.
I love how they just say that, as if it's not just the most obvious violation of international law and the Geneva Conventions. Just stop and imagine if Venezuela decided to light up a U.S. boat and 11 people were killed, were murked. What would our reaction be? Oh my God. Oh my God. It would be over for Venezuela. We'd be fucking, the nukes would be in the air, like immediately. Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. All right, but we're just getting warmed up. By the way, shout out to Pelosi, actually at least said something that was, at least was like, yeah, that's not legal. Okay. All right, I'll take it. It's so bad. You know it's horrible when we're yearning for the leadership days of Nancy Pelosi because Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are so fucking weak and so they never fight anything. It's just like, for the love of God, can somebody please mount any sort of opposition? So now we also got videos like this coming out of Puerto Rico. So U.S. Marines and Navy sailors are carrying out amphibious landing exercises, and this is what that looks like. Yeah, so it looks like they're actually going to ground invade. They're actually going to ground invade Venezuela. Reuters says Trump weighs strikes targeting cartels inside Venezuela. CNN reports. By the way, understand something, guys. This really is the soft laundering of Trump's actions. Because when they parrot what the White House, oh, we're going after the cartels, they're not telling you that the amount of drugs that comes out of Venezuela into the U.S. is infinitesimally small. So they make it seem, they're like, this is them cleaning this up. This is them putting lipstick on a pig to say, oh, he's just targeting the cartels. Well, first of all, if he was doing that, that's also illegal. Second of all, that's not actually what's happening here. They want to do regime change on Maduro. They want to put a U.S. puppet in there, and then they want to steal the oil, as Trump has a track record of saying. He said it about Iraq. He said it about Syria. In fact, he admitted that's what we're doing when we occupy a third of Syria. And he's literally said it in speeches about Venezuela, that he tried to coup him in the first term, and I would have taken the oil. And now they're going all in on this. By the way, who's lurking behind the scenes with the decision-making here? Well, Pete Hegseth is the hand-picked loser and cretin of Eric Prince, who's an international terrorist who ran a mercenary army, a Christian fundamentalist mercenary army They're the people who were in Iraq, Blackwater. They got paid way more than our troops. They did the Nisour Square massacre, which killed a lot of civilians. They went to prison for it. Then Trump pardoned the war criminals who lit up Iraqi civilians. And then now they changed the name of Blackwater because obviously they have horrible PR because they're a Christian fundamentalist mercenary terrorist army. And now Eric Prince wants to do the regime change in Venezuela, occupy Venezuela, get government contracts to do so, get rich off of that, and steal the oil for Trump. This is what we're talking about here. Now, by the way, I'm still not done because there's this as well. So this is in The Intercept. Pentagon official says Trump boat strike was a criminal attack on civilians. A current DoD official and many military legal experts say the U.S. attack on a boat in the Caribbean near Venezuela broke international law. This is from Nick Turse. You don't say. See, here's the thing, guys. Even if you take what they say at face value, let's just take the administration for argument's sake here at face value. We're going after drug runners. We're going after narco terrorists or whatever. Okay. Well, as we all know, you have 7 warships in the region. You have 4,500 troops. You have the ability to stop the boat, get on the boat, confiscate the goods, arrest the people, have them tried. You have the ability to do these things. You actively chose not to stop the boat, not to apprehend them. You chose the death penalty, your judge, jury, and executioner, and you get to light them up with no due process whatsoever. Because there's allegedly some drugs on a boat that's the size of a little fishing dinghy boat and would barely be enough cocaine for a fucking bachelor party, and you decide the death penalty is acceptable for that. So even if you take them at face value, these are drug dealers, these are, narco terrorists or whatever, you could have stopped them, you could have apprehended them, you could have taken the goods, but you didn't do that because you didn't want to do that. Because the fact of the matter is they weren't that. There's no evidence they were that at all. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The evidence says that was a fucking fishing boat. The lethal strike on a boat in the Caribbean on Tuesday was a criminal attack on civilians, according to a high-ranking Pentagon official who spoke to The Intercept on the condition of anonymity. The Trump administration paved the way for the attack, he said, by firing the top legal authorities of the Army and the Air Force earlier this year. This is what we warned you would happen. Trump packing the military with sycophants who are yes men, who will agree to whatever he wants to do, and he tests his limits. This was one of the things to test the limits, where now we're watching the U.S. military illegally massacre and murder innocent people on a fucking dinghy boat off the coast of Venezuela, and they're fucking cheering about it and bragging about it. Quote, the U.S. is now directly targeting civilians. Drug traffickers may be criminals, but they aren't combatants, the Department of Defense official said. When Trump fired the military's top lawyers, the rest saw the writing on the wall, and instead of being a critical firebreak, they are now a rubber stamp complicit in this crime. So again, what they're saying here is even if you take their story at face value, what they did is illegal. What they did is a war crime. But I'm going a step further. You can't even take their story at face value because it's not true. President Trump claimed that the attack was aimed against positively identified Tren de Aragua narco terrorists. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? In a Truth Social post, he continued, TDA is a designated foreign terrorist organization operating under the control of Maduro. Oh my God, they just lie about everything. Maduro is not the head of fucking Tren de Aragua, you fucking lying prick. Trump accompanied the post with a video of a 4-engine speedboat cutting through the water with numerous people on board. An explosion then destroys the boat. Trump said the attack killed 11 people. It was unclear whether they were given a chance to surrender before the U.S. killed them. I wonder. After days of silence, the White House issued a statement late Thursday claiming the attack was lawful. White House Deputy Press Secretary Anna Kelly said it was taken in defense of vital U.S. national interests and in the collective self-defense of other nations who have long suffered due to the narcotics trafficking and violent cartel activities, blah, blah, blah. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth offered his own justification for the strike. Every boatload of any form of drug that poisons the American people is an imminent threat. Jesus Christ, they're redefining imminent threat to mean whatever the fuck they want it to mean. And the DOD, at the DOD, our job is to defeat imminent threats. He told a group of journalists, a foreign terrorist organization poisoning your people, blah, 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 from a drug cartel is no different than Al-Qaeda. Two U.S. officials speaking on the condition of anonymity said that Hegseth's justification, which one called completely unserious, took shape after the attack. So anyway, they're lying. This was a fucking fishing boat. It was a dinghy boat. It was a fucking war crime that they did right in front of our eyes. And look, there has to be consequences. And I can't help but point out, the downfall began with the war on terror. When they decided we're going to have Abu Ghraib, we're going to have Guantanamo Bay, we're going to illegally torture people there, we're going to kill hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians in Iraq. When all of that happened, and then there were no consequences and there was no justice for these terrorists like Dick Cheney and George W. Bush, that then opened up the door where things that were off the table and things that were black and white, just laws, they became a matter of opinion, right? And so that set the table, and now you have somebody in office who cares even less about the rules and the laws and checks and balances than even the Bush regime did. Now you have somebody in office who's like, I do whatever I want, whenever I want to do it, and you can fuck right off if you disagree. And so we're at the point where they're lighting up fucking dinghy fishing boats off the coast of Venezuela in contravention of international law, and nobody's talking about holding them accountable. Nobody's talking about having them arrested. Nobody's talking about people being forced to resign or step down. I mean, we truly are living in hell, y'all. We truly are. There used to be a time where you would at least have to try to make the argument that if you're going to attack Venezuela, you need to make the argument that Nicolas Maduro has got, like, I don't know, some off-the-shelf nuclear weapons currently pointed at Cleveland, so we have no choice. Like, we're doing this as a matter of imminent self-defense. They're about to press that button. We're going to build up the propaganda to say, hey, it's totally in self-defense. Here's how you know. This is what they had to do for the war in Iraq. They had to build up the propaganda for 2 fucking years to try to convince the public this is the way to go. Trump doesn't even bother with doing propaganda, with selling the idea to the public. I mean, this is just straight to, let me be the terrorist. Let me be the fascist, terrorist, madman, psychopath. And then after the fact, come up with some bullshit rationale as to why it's okay that I'm murdering Venezuelan civilians. And so now we use our military for just openly for illegal offensive actions, right? We are the aggressors. We are the baddies. So let me just put out there to anybody who's in the military, is this what you want to be associated with? Is this what you want your legacy to be? You're the international thug. You're the international gangsters and the cartel. You're the ones that are, imperialist pricks who overthrow whatever government for whatever reason to fucking put a puppet regime in and steal the oil. They're not even pretending this is actually about some sort of self-defense against imminent attack. The closest they can come is to say, oh, if cocaine's on the boat, that's the same as Al-Qaeda attacking us, which is just fucking comical. It is just absurd. So this is where we are. And the fact that, here's the thing, guys, the fact that we have 7 warships in the region, the fact that we have 4,500 troops there, the fact that we already attacked a boat, leads me to believe Trump is effectively, he's already made his mind up. He's already going to do it. Which, again, then begs the question, so we're already going to have another potential absolute catastrophic nightmare of an illegal war where our leaders should be fucking arrested immediately. We already have that. But then that opens the door. Did he mean it when he talked about stealing Greenland? Did he mean it when he talked about stealing Panama? Did he mean it when he says we're going to bomb Mexico? Like, are we going to go, as we all know, we already had a bomb fest against Iran. Are we going to go back and do that again? Are we going to do a bigger war with Iran? Is he going to continue in Yemen? Is he going to continue in Somalia? Like, what? Every single thing is on the table now because there are no rules, there are no regulations, there are no laws. Basically, King Joffrey is now emperor of the world. That's what we're looking at. King Joffrey is now emperor of the world. And he's deciding who to fuck up and when to fuck them up for whatever reason or non-reason he wants. And we're all supposed to fucking sit here and play along and act like this is okay and act like this is normal. So what I would say to the media is I need to see a lot more fight over this. And what I would say to the Democrats is, if you're not talking about this, why the fuck are you even in politics? Why are you even in politics? If the whole idea of running as a Democrat is, hey, I want to try to make the country a better place and make the world a better place. Well, now, like I said, you got Emperor King Joffrey is out there starting wars with whoever for whatever reason they want. They make it up as they fucking go. So you have the lives of innocent Venezuelans on the line. Innocent people around the world, their lives are on the line. Our own soldiers' lives are on the line. Why are you not out there saying, what the fuck is this? If we're supposed to be the indispensable nation, if we're supposed to be the world's sole superpower and the world police, we shouldn't be Alonzo from Training Day. We shouldn't be that kind of a cop. We should be the kind of cop that actually does their job properly, does their job right, and make sure, hey, we look after the vulnerable, we protect the vulnerable, and we keep the bad guys in line. In this instance, we are the bad guy. Is this what everybody's okay with? This is how we should act around the world? It's just fucking disgusting. It's just disgusting. He's a fucking mafia boss. He's a mafia boss with the most powerful military of all time at his disposal. And the fact that people are willing to carry out these actions also sickens me. The people who press that button should be locked the fuck up. Donald Trump should be locked the fuck up. Pete Hegseth should be locked the fuck up. These things were not debatable. Now they've become debatable because they're that fucking evil and unhinged and sadistic. This is sadistic shit that we're watching. Hands off Venezuela. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.